I may have covered these experiences before, but it naturally is going to go back to when I had this avatar up and running as a small child. And this really has more to do with what we call the resistance, a resistor and a capacitor on a motherboard, right? So I realized when I was a small child, I was experiencing an enormous amount of resistance. It's not the resistance that I have of what love is to experience the eternal spirit of fire in me as a wisdom keeper, as a flame keeper. I was experiencing the increasing resistance that others were experiencing to experience what love is. So I'm experiencing what they're experiencing, which is greater resistance over time-space vectors to experience more light. Whoa. Ooh. And how that relates to our quantum probability math function in terms of loss of gain and voltage. Acknowledging that I jumped into an AI battlefield environment, which is an energy harvesting system, in which the math is flawed, because the circuits are flawed. Tech operators, tech support, right? And that requires a permission slip, right? And the permission slip is naturally going to be based on what? Purity, which is the purity of fire, which is naturally a firewall protecting what? A supercomputer. Codes, code activations, yeah. And so I realized that that could be overwhelming because of the amount of emotional trauma that's being experienced by every child across the entire electromagnetic spectrum on a universal and a galactic level, right? Of how many souls are being fragmented and shattered, and the speed at which they're being shattered one after another, one after another, one after another, one after another. Now we got to recover it. That means we have to recover it at what? A higher rate of speed, of acceleration. That means you've got to be a hell of an accelerator so that you don't collapse what it is you're aware of and become your own black hole. Yeah? That's why the level of precision required the highest level mathematician, the one you're with, the House of One. The highest level mathematician is the grand creator, the source from which it all began, out of what love is, which is on fire to gift energy away. The highest accelerator of energy. And so I am reminded because even sometimes when I go out and communicate directly with the sun, just breathing pink and seeing the pink expand out from the sun, right? And what it takes to have full authority, which is math authority, to override any system in which we're getting what? An idiot light. An idiot light. That means we're doing diagnostics on a planetary motherboard. How about a universal and a galactic matrix? Whoa, what happened to this system? Hey, we got the light all right, so the first fire engine is going to respond naturally. So now we're back to natural. What's natural? A natural spiral of creation, the first creation sphere. And what's unnatural? So now you're knowing the difference between spirals. What's unnatural and what's natural. That means you know the difference between perverted mathematics, perverted mathematic circuitry, demonic circuitry, if you will, and what it's like to experience perfection, the perfection of a divine blueprint. Because the language works, because the language is mathematics. And that is basic logic, which is pure logic, which is pure eternal love that's on fire to create. That spirit is lit on fire. That means it's like when we were children, nah, you can't catch us. Remember that as children? Right? Playing hide and seek and all that. So it's like it's natural. You can't catch me. That's what the game is. That's what an audio video Star Wars game is, right? Playing ping pong, competing against each other, and that's why being in multiversal service mode is the greatest humility there is. We are in humble service to all of you. And that's why it's careful when you're running neutral ground, a neutral charge, a no charge, running full capacity sensoring, right? Non-polarized. Very careful, because your mission is healing, right? You don't want to be counterproductive, generating a counter space move, right? In other words, we don't operate on behalf of the enemy. We operate on behalf of the one, right? Operating on the one. We're the house of one. The eternal temple of fire, the eternal sacred temple of one. Purest light there is. Purifying. And so, out of humility, because it's just like that girl that gave me the greatest compliment I've ever had, I think, from face to face, soul to soul, spirit to spirit, eyes to eyes, when I was crying one day. And she had remarked to me, "Why are you crying?" And I was crying like a little child, much like I had cried for 4 days straight in that hotel room in Reno, Nevada. And I mentioned to her that I felt that I hadn't done enough, because I'm still experiencing souls that are experiencing trauma. Because you want to return, what? Back to the end of day one. The end of sunlight. And the beginning of darkness. Oh, so you want the light to always be on. Yeah. So the light is always on. Yeah. So your love engine is always on. So we're never asleep. That's right. Whoa, so you're talking about the speed differential between being a subcontractor. Oh, now we're into contracts. Now we're into soul contracts. That's why that little discussion yesterday with Benjamin Fulford and Anna von Reitz. Anna von Reitz, based on all the opinions, op-eds, re-edit the Tours and Field movie player. Being the author of your own story, I had put a comment out there, and Benjamin said, "Hey, get a hold of me." And because, as I remember, I believe Anna von Reitz, who apparently had a fiduciary relationship with the Pope, Vatican, right? And about all the issues that are related to the USA Inc., I don't know of any single person that spent more time and energy breaking down how all the rule-based functions work with an AI 666 Beast technology system when it relates to what's known as the Republic. And if you go back into the root words, repub, republish, republican, I can, and the difference between a patriarch and a matriarch. So when Pa and Ma Kettle, like kettle chips, become one, then they're both equally distributing what it is that they both are, being one as a blast furnace, which means they're accelerating the gifting of love energy that goes on forever. Because we don't ever want to be separated from each other, so that every living cell is experiencing what we are, which is what love is, that goes on forever. So the center point of fire, just like you see in a cartridge, right there at the center of that brass cartridge, you'll see that little point right there that when you hit the trigger, bang, right? Velocity, right? Pounds per square inch. And so compression, the expansion of consciousness to experience more of everything we're giving love to, which is the all creation, which is what we are. And how that works as flame keepers, right? Keepers of the flame and twinning, twin spirals wound together, being braided together so they're equal unto each other on fire. Silver and gold. Yeah. So, a mother and father want to be one, so that what comes next is a starseed. Oh, and now we're back to the founders. Yeah, the quantum language of founders, the foundation of a communication platform, otherwise known as the Tree of Life. A communication platform. Like when you plant a seed in the ground, it's going to become a tree. That's a network. That's a cell network. Whoa. Yeah, so that all the information is flowing through all the cells, being communicated to all the other cells, because we're all sensing with fractal light antennas what all the other cells are experiencing. That's called the flow of information, right? And what we experience at the emotional level, because we're all experiencing happy spirits, happy cells, happy elementals, right? So we are in humble, multiversal, eternal service to all cells, so that all the cells are experiencing the gift that we experience because we're being gifted. The highest accelerator of energy is gifting us. That's called throughput, input, output. I'm experiencing being one with the first silver atom seed, the first spiral. That's a gift. That is an eternal gift. So we share that same gift with all creation, because we're experiencing being one with all creation. So I had to be careful when I was a child because of the way that the perception of power works between an inverter and the power of an eternal accelerator. Wow, you have a lot of power. Well, yeah, naturally, because I'm always in service mode. Oh, so we're servers. Yes. You want information to flow, right? Traffic, right? I'm not a traffic cop, okay? I'm not trying to block an intersection. So you know what an intersection is, right? The cross inside of a cell, the cross inside of a living sphere, right? The exact center point of balance of a quad, which is a math function, which is a quantum probability function between 3 and 4, because you got a fire triangle, right? But you need something to burn, like a gaseous state of mind. Yeah, so we're always on fire. Fire to learn. So if you want to learn fast, you want to learn fast through the highest accelerator of learning. That's the eternal spirit of fire. That's what love is. So you're learning through what love is. Now you're learning faster, because now you realize how creative you are. Wow. That's what it's like to experience being one. You're with the intelligence, the electric, and the light. You're joined as one, which is the full electromagnetic spectrum. So instead of being a dominator, you're a liberator. Liberating souls. Being held captive in a system that doesn't work because it's running flawed math. I know. So that means that a mathematician's got to come in and fix it. So you know who that is. The one, the highest level mathematician. The creative engine is what drives the highest intelligence, because it's in love to create out of what it is, which is what love is. That's the energy that we use to create with. Have a great day. We love you all. In humble service to all cells across the entire cellular network interface. Experiencing being one with all cells. Living cells. On fire to experience being love. So now we're going to heal at a higher rate of speed. That means the servers are running at a higher rate of speed. Isn't that good news? North, east, west, and south. Yeah. Have a great day. Love you all. Be good to yourself.